Missouri Property Tax Appeal 2026. File with Board of Equalization by July 8th. If you own property in Missouri, your deadline to appeal your property tax assessment is July 8th, 2026, the date by which you must file a written protest with your County Board of Equalization. Under Missouri Revised Statutes Section 138.430, the County Assessor mails assessment notices on the second Monday in June, and property owners have 20 days from that notice to file an appeal. The Board of Equalization is your first and most critical step. Missing the July 8th deadline means losing your right to challenge your assessment for the 2026 tax year. This presentation covers everything you need to know: understanding the deadline, preparing your evidence, navigating the BOE process, appealing to the State Tax Commission, commercial versus residential differences, the legal framework, potential savings, and your complete 5-step action plan for 2026. July 8th, 2026. The deadline you cannot miss. July 8th, 2026 is the most important date on your Missouri property tax calendar. This is the deadline to file a written protest with your County Board of Equalization if you disagree with your property assessment. As stated on the official Missouri State Tax Commission website at stc.mo.gov, RSMO 138.430 provides that assessment notices are mailed on the second Monday of June, and appeals must be filed by the third Tuesday thereafter. For 2026, the second Monday of June falls on June 8th, making the deadline Tuesday, July 8th. This deadline is jurisdictional. The Board of Equalization has no legal authority to accept late appeals. The written protest must include your name and address, the parcel number, the grounds for appeal such as overvaluation or improper classification, and supporting evidence. All property types face the same July 8th deadline. Understanding your assessment notice. Your Missouri property tax assessment notice arrives by mail on the second Monday of June 2026, which is June 8th. This document from your county assessor contains 3 critical numbers: the actual value or market value, the assessed value, which is what your taxes are calculated on, and the assessment ratio applied. As explained on the Missouri Department of Revenue website at door.mo.gov/property, the assessed value is the key number. It determines your tax bill. If you believe the actual value is too high, or the wrong assessment ratio was applied, you need to file an appeal. Residential property is assessed at 19% of actual value, commercial property at 32%, agricultural at 12%, and personal property at 33.3%. Verify that your property classification and data are correct. Over 15% of assessment notices contain at least one factual error. The Board of Equalization is your first appeal step. The County Board of Equalization is your first and mandatory stop when appealing a Missouri property tax assessment. Under Missouri law, you cannot appeal directly to the State Tax Commission. You must first file a written protest with the BOE and receive a decision. The BOE consists of county residents who review assessment protests and can adjust your assessed value or property classification. The hearing is informal. You present your evidence and explain why the assessment is wrong. The board decides and must issue a written decision. If the board denies your protest or you are unsatisfied with the reduction, you have the right to appeal to the State Tax Commission within 10 days of the BOE decision. The board also has the power to increase your assessment if it finds the property was underassessed, though this is rare. Appealing to the State Tax Commission. If you disagree with the Board of Equalization decision, your next step is an appeal to the Missouri State Tax Commission, or STC. The STC is the state-level agency that oversees property tax equalization across all 114 Missouri counties and the city of St. Louis. As established under RSMO 138.431, the STC has broad authority to equalize assessments, review BOE decisions, and issue binding orders. You must file your STC appeal within 10 days of the BOE decision using Form STC-1 for individual property or STC-1A for agricultural property. The STC hearing is informal but more structured than the BOE hearing. A hearing officer reviews your file and both sides present evidence. The Commission issues a final order. The STC decision is appealable to Circuit Court within 30 days. STC appeals typically resolve within 60 to 120 days. Commercial versus residential key differences in Missouri. While both commercial and residential property owners face the same July 8th Board of Equalization deadline, the appeal process differs. Residential property is assessed at 19% of actual value. Commercial property at 32%. Residential appeals are straightforward. You can use comparable sales and photographs. Most homeowners represent themselves successfully. Commercial appeals are more complex. They typically require a professional certified appraisal using the income or cost approach. Hiring an attorney or property tax consultant is recommended for commercial appeals. Agricultural property is assessed at 12% based on productivity indexes. Personal property like vehicles and equipment is assessed at 33.3%. All follow the same July 8th BOE deadline. The evidence requirements vary by property class. The legal framework of key Missouri statutes. Missouri property tax appeals are governed by a clear statutory framework. The most important statutes are RSMO Chapter 137 on assessment and levy of property taxes, and RSMO Chapter 138 on equalization and review of assessments. RSMO 138.430 establishes the July 8th deadline, requires a written protest, defines the BOE powers, and provides for STC appeals. RSMO 138.431 creates the State Tax Commission and defines its authority. RSMO 137.115 establishes the 4 property classes and assessment ratios. And Article 10, Section 3 of the Missouri Constitution requires uniform taxation, which is the basis for unequal assessment appeals. As stated on the official Missouri Revisor of Statutes website at revisor.mo.gov. Understanding these statutes makes your case stronger. Building your evidence with comparable sales and appraisals. Evidence is the most critical part of your Missouri property tax appeal. Under Missouri law, the county assessor's valuation is presumed correct, and you bear the burden of proving, by a preponderance of the evidence, that your property is overvalued or improperly classified. Gather 3 to 5 comparable sales of similar properties in your area. Take clear photographs documenting any defects or condition issues. For commercial appeals, a certified general appraisal using the income approach is virtually essential. For residential appeals, an appraisal is optional, but adds credibility. You can also argue unequal assessment if your ratio is higher than similarly situated properties. Building a strong, organized evidence package dramatically increases your chances of a successful appeal. How much can you save with real Missouri numbers? A successful property tax appeal can save you significant money in Missouri. Residential example. A home with assessed value of $47,500 and a $5.50 levy district pays about $2,612 per year. If you appeal and reduce market value by 20%, the assessed value drops to $38,000 and your tax bill falls to $2,090. That is a savings of $522 per year. Over 5 years with moderate assessment growth, you could save over $2,800. Commercial example. A retail property with assessed value of $320,000 pays about $19,200 per year. A 20% reduction saves $3,840 per year. Over 5 years, that is over $20,000 saved. The savings compound over time because future assessment increases are based on a lower base value. Successful appeals create lasting value year after year. Your 5-step action plan for 2026. Step 1. When your assessment notice arrives on June 8th, review it carefully. Verify property data, classification, and assessed value. Step 2. By June 25th, gather your evidence. Find 3 to 5 comparable sales. Take photos and order an appraisal if needed. Step 3. By July 8th, file your written protest with the County Board of Equalization. Use certified mail for proof of timely filing. Step 4. Attend your BOE hearing in July or August. Present your evidence clearly. Step 5. If needed, file an STC appeal within 10 days of the BOE decision using Form STC-1. The deadline of July 8th is strict and jurisdictional. Do not wait. Start preparing your evidence now. For more information, visit the Missouri State Tax Commission website at stc.mo.gov or the Missouri Department of Revenue at door.mo.gov.